Hello everybody and welcome back to the Turfcast podcast pre-game show with me, Joe Reb. And now things are starting to look a lot better, aren't they? 2 wins in 2 for Burnley, and it's not just been 2 lucky wins in 2, it's been 2 very well-deserved wins in 2. 2 very impressive wins as well. A win down at the Amex against a side that were apparently chasing the Europa League or the Conference League, and a win against Spurs. We nearly sent Antonio Conte to the job centre. He was nearly ready to quit. We've been playing very, very well these last few games, and not even just the last 2 games, like I said on the vlog, where we've got the wins. We've been playing well for a while now, so fingers crossed we can continue that this week. But it is going to be a tough one against Palace. They're doing quite well this season. Vieira's come in. He's changed things around. He's they started playing a different style of football, and they've never been in any danger of going down. Really, they've never been in the conversation, and they're sitting comfortably in mid-table. So it's going to be a tough one for Burnley, but like I said, we're going into this one with a lot of confidence now from the games that we've been playing. They will as well, though. They've just beaten Watford 4-1 at Watford, but Spurs are feeling confident before they came to the turf as well, weren't they? They're just beating City. So, it's going to be tough for Burnley. They're a good side of Palace. Every away game in the Premier League's tough. I know it's a cliche, but it really, really is. And I would take a point right now if I'm being honest with you. But I think some Burnley fans will go into this not expecting, but, hoping that we can get 3. And that's what a bit of momentum can do. Momentum's a really big thing in football, isn't it? So fingers crossed we can continue that this weekend against Palace at Selhurst Park. But let's get into the chat. Of course, this is the pre-game show, so I always bring a fan of the opposition on. Now, this is the back of the nest. The lads at the back of the nest have been on this channel quite a few times, but normally it's D. D couldn't make it this week, so we have Patrick, and he's a Crystal Palace fan living in New York, and here he is. And just like that, joining me from the Back of the Nest podcast and YouTube channel is Patrick. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, mate?
Yeah, really good, thanks. Especially now Burnley's form has picked up and the league table suddenly looking a lot better. I was very concerned. I'd even go as far as saying, I thought we were pretty much dead and buried. I'd seen nothing to suggest that Burnley would stay up. But yeah, thankfully now we are, playing pretty well. And I've just seen a stat just as you popped into the room that Burnley are currently the 3rd most in-form side in the Premier League. So things are looking up for the Clarets. But let's have a chat about Crystal Palace, because, of course, you boys are having a very good season. Currently sitting in 11th in the Premier League. There's been no danger whatsoever of you being getting relegated. Pretty much just mid-table all season. But your form recently, it's been a little bit hit and miss. Obviously, you've had the amazing win last time out against Watford. Thank you very much for that, by the way. That was just as good for us as our own win. So thank you for that. But before that, it was a 1-0 defeat to Chelsea. You're unlucky in that one, to be fair, though. You played really well in that. Then it was draws against Brentford and Norwich, a defeat to Liverpool, a draw against Brighton, a defeat against West Ham, and then before that there was a 3-0 win against Norwich City. So you've only won 1 game since that Norwich City game. How do you see your form going into this?
Honestly, you mentioned about the threats of relegation. I've been a Palace fan for over 50 years. I've never really worried about it. Probably less so this season than others, because people talk about Vieira coming in and we'd be worried about it, but I really wasn't. As far as the form goes, you rattled off the fixtures. A couple of them were difficult ones. West Ham obviously is a top 5 side. We were down 3-0, brought it back 3-2, almost got a goal late from Ateta, could have easily drawn that match. Obviously, Liverpool, do you know how everybody knows how great Liverpool are? And again, even in that match, we were down 2-1, and that ridiculous penalty call on Jota kind of killed our momentum in that match. And then obviously we lost the tough game last Saturday to Chelsea, who, again, say what you want, champions of Europe, champions of the world. I mean, to lose in the last minute like that, it's been something kind of typical of us, unfortunately. We've actually lost a few matches late. But the ones that people's point to lately have been the Norwich and Brentford, teams that are down there with, down at the bottom. But again, they were away matches, 2 teams that really fighting like you are, to stay up. So I wasn't that disappointed. The form for me has been a little bit iffy, but honestly, we won 2 games in the FA Cup, which for me is a bit of a priority for me with the new manager. And I think Vieira's done a great job. Him coming in this season, being brand new, bringing in 5-6 brand new players, changing the total style of play. You saw it. I mean, we beat Watford recently, and credit to Hodgson for keeping us up, but that style of play for me was getting old. So for me, what Vieira's been doing lately, despite iffy results of late, have been fine by me. I've been very happy with what he's done.
Yeah, let's touch on Vieira then a bit more, because there was a lot of noise in the summer. I think I was even guilty of getting caught up in it myself, because you had a new manager coming in, you had X amount of players out of contract towards the end of last season. The new manager would have had to come in and make a lot of changes. Then we saw that it was going to be Vieira, and then we knew that it was going to be a completely different style of play. So that even added another layer to it. And then Vieira came in with not a great amount of good experience, some experience abroad and stuff. As a manager, obviously, as a player, his record speaks for itself.
Right.
So how were you feeling in the summer when you knew there was a new manager coming in that wasn't, the most experienced in the world, and you had so much work to do?
I was very excited, honestly. Like I said, Hodgson did a great job with us, but it was time for him to move on. We had an aging squad last year. Unlike others, again, I told you, I live in New York now. I used to live in South London, obviously, but I live in New York now. And I had actually seen Vieira manage over here for NYCFC. Yeah. So I knew he had a bit about him, changing his formations, the way he played. I was excited. We lost a few of our older players. Gary Cahill moved on, McCarthy, Van Aanholt, etc. Wayne Hennessy's at your team now. And he brought in some really exciting young players. Mark Gahey this season. Anderson next to him has been really, really good. Conor Gallagher, I can't say how great he's been for us. And there's the whole change in style of play. We play a 4-3-3 now, with Wilf out wide on one side, Elise or Ayew on the other side. We've got Edouard now to play up front with Mateta. We've got ball playing centre halves, which has been great. We've got Tyke Mitchell at left back, much more exciting, younger players. It's just been a great to watch. Again, it's a totally different style. I mean, the 4-4-2 under Hodgson never changed. It just never changed. Yeah. I mean, watching the Watford game, that's how they play. You guys played, I guess it was a 0-0 recently, right? And how they play. So just to see a younger manager come in with a different style, I'm all for it. And again, I just love the fact that even last week we played against Chelsea. He changed it to 4-2-3-1. We didn't get the point we wanted, but he changed the style around. We hadn't played that way all season. So to have a manager that's not going to stick to one system and, utilizing the players he has been brilliant for us so far, for me anyway.
Yeah, I think that shows that you're quite clearly a glass half full kind of guy. I think most people in a summer of, when there's so much changed coming in, I know for a fact, say if Burnley got rid of Dyche this season and we had a relatively inexperienced manager coming in and we knew he was going to change, because we're in a similar position now this season to what you were last season.
Absolutely.
Our squad's aging. We need to ship a few out. There's a few out of contract. So we're going to be, no matter what league we're in, with quite a new sort of like personnel next season, and I know I'm going to be quite worried about it. So that just shows you like a glass half full kind of person, doesn't it? I think
it does, but people who know me will say I haven't always been that way. Again, under Hodgson, I gave him a lot of stick the last season. I just did. I couldn't take it. Like I told you, I've been a supporter for a very, very long time. I've seen tons of managers come through. Tons. I mean, from my other manager was Bert Head, and that was in the early 70s. I mean, it's been that long. Under Pardew, there were parts that were great. Getting to the final was great, but after that, it was awful. So we had Pulis, we've had Allardyce, we've had so many different managers. I mean, so for me, like I said, I was very willing to give a younger manager with pedigree as far as the player, as you said, a chance, and I've loved what he's done so far.
Talk to me about your ambitions for the season then, because I know you touched on it earlier. You said your priority now is the FA Cup. Obviously, that's a luxury that we can't afford because A, we've obviously been knocked out, and B, obviously staying in the Premier League is going to have to be the priority. Whereas you boys, obviously, like I said earlier, up in 11th, you've got that breathing space, so you can focus more on the FA Cup. So is that your ambition then? Maybe get to the semis, the final, even win it?
Absolutely. Again, I'm not totally eliminating the fact that we could, drop into the relegation issue, because it's something that Palace always do. But honestly, with the way we are now, 11th place, there are a lot of sides down there, teams like Leeds that are really starting to struggle, Brentford, etc. Norwich. I'm hoping Newcastle go down. There are tons of teams down there that I think we can not worry about relegation. So for me, yes, an FA Cup run. We're now in the 5th round. We've got Stoke on Wednesday. I'd like to think we can get at least to the quarterfinals, and after that, there's going to be bound to be a Premier League top side left for us. A Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City left.
Case, isn't it?
Exactly. So to get to the semis will be brilliant this year. So that's my goal, obviously.
Do you think the squad and Vieira will have half an eye on this game against Stoke? Again, it gives you a bit of a luxury, no disrespect to Stoke, but they're a lower league team, so you could probably rest a few players in that one and play full strength, say, against Burnley and then against Wolves again the week after? Or do you think it might be the other way around? Could you have half an eye on the Stoke game instead of the Burnley game?
It's a great point. Dee and I were talking about that the other day. I honestly would, with no disrespect to you guys, I would definitely have half an eye on Stoke and rest some players. We've got a little bit of squad depth. We do have a couple of injuries. I listened to the Vieira today. Right now, we only have Joel Ward out and Nathan Ferguson. They're basically both of two of our right backs. We've got Nathaniel Klein who will probably play there. So he'll probably play tomorrow and he'll play on against Stoke. But honestly, that aside, we can rest. Benteke hasn't played in a while. He scored against you guys earlier this season. Edouard hasn't played in a while. We can put him back in the lineup. Ayew came back from AFCONs, has played, but he didn't start against Watford. We've got we couldn't really rest any of our defenders because again with Gahey and Anderson, we only have Tompkins. He's been out for a while. I wouldn't want to necessarily see him come in. In midfield, James MacArthur has been injured, came back and has been really, really good since he came back. Put a brilliant ball in for Will to score against Watford. So he could probably start. Didn't start against Watford. Gallagher's going to play because Gallagher always plays when he's available. Didn't play against Chelsea last week. Kouyate's been brilliant since all seasons. Came back from AFCON as Senegal won. He's been on a high. So we can rest some players. Olise's been in and out. Like I said, he plays on the other side with Ayew. So we can top. We won't really rest anybody defensively, but I can definitely see us rotating in midfield and up top.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's talk about Conor Gallagher then, because you've mentioned him twice. It's happened already. Your face lights up when you talk about him. Me and Dee have got a running joke because I do some videos with fans bet and Dee. It always manages to shoehorn, no matter what the topic is, no matter what the subject, he will talk about Conor Gallagher. What makes this lad so special? Because I agree, he's a very good footballer. He was good at the turf earlier in the season, and the goal he scored against Watford in midweek, it looks so simple. But for those of us who played football at Sunday League level, know how difficult it is to control the ball as you're fading and sending a defender another way and then just slotting it away. He is clearly a good player. So what makes him so special?
His ability, honestly, that is one. His finishing is brilliant. He's got 8 goals this season. He scored some. He's got about 3 or 4 goals of the season already this season for us. His ability to get into the box, he's a box-to-box number 8. He arrives late, and he's always involved in even the first goal that Mateta scored. He was the one that crossed it in. He's involved in everything that we do going forward. I'm very excited. The thing, honestly, I don't think we're going to have him next season, and I'm not one of those people who say, we're going to definitely have him. We've got to have him next season. I didn't even mention him yet. Eberechi Eze hasn't played this season, coming off an ACL injury. He's similar to Conor in that he can create goals, can go box to box. And I really think Vieira's done a very smart thing in not rushing him back this season. Funny enough, I think he might start tomorrow against you guys because he hasn't really played a lot, and I think he can play that Conor Gallagher role next year. But as far as Conor's concerned, he's got himself into the England squad. He's going to go back to Chelsea. I don't see any way that Chelsea would just let him go at the end of the season without giving him a chance in their team next season. But having said that, they're extremely deep in the midfield positions. Yeah. I mean, I can see them, going out and getting another midfielder from another club, and him not even getting a chance. But from everything that Conor's saying, he says the right things. He loves being at Palace now, but he's going to go back. He's a Chelsea lad at heart, wants to go back there and play. But while we haven't, I'm enjoying him because he's been brilliant this season for us. Yeah,
he really has. And it's interesting, isn't it? I don't see how he fits into that Chelsea side right now, simply because, as you mentioned, they're so deep. But as an England football fan, I always want to see English players play for the top teams, and so I would love to see him go in there. If, like you said, you don't think you'll have him next season, but where does he fit into that Chelsea side? I'm not really sure where he does, to be honest.
The only thing I'm thinking is that Kovacic and Junior are getting up there in age, so maybe he gets in there with Mason Mount, obviously, but again, the only thing is I've heard there's, they had Declan Rice in the past. Might be looking to get him back. Who knows? Exactly, they got the kid from Spain, Niguez, who hasn't played at all. They got him on loan. I think Atletico, I believe he came from. So, I mean, they've got, and again, they're Chelsea, because they've got lots of cheek. We had a couple of seasons back. They're going to spend money because that's what they do.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's get your thoughts on Burnley then, because of course, rock bottom for the majority of the season. Well, not the majority, but for the last few weeks, have been rock bottom. All of a sudden, an impressive win at Brighton, which I'm sure you would have enjoyed.
Absolutely.
And another impressive win. Yeah, you're welcome, mate. That you were winning against Watford was just returning the favour. Then that's how we'll
No worries.
But now things are looking a lot more positive. Still a lot of hard work to do. I don't think any Burnley fan is going to sit there and say we're definitely staying up now. But suddenly it looks like we might be okay if we play like we have done in the last couple of games for the rest of the season, I'm pretty confident we can stay up. But it's whether or not we do play like that for the rest of the season, because Weghorst has come in. He's sort of like changed the way that we play. Obviously, I appreciate you probably don't watch Burnley that much. I'm not sure many neutral fans do. But we now have a striker that will come deep and pick the ball up in the middle. I'm sure the people who listen to this podcast regularly are sick to death of me saying this, but I'm just saying it now for our guests. Like, he'll come in deep into the middle, he'll put the ball up in the middle, and he'll help get the midfielders onto the ball. Wingers can now overlap and things like that, and even people in the middle like Josh Brownhill and Jack Cork can now overlap, and then Weghorst play him in, and that's how he scored the goal against Brighton. And of course, we've got Maxwell Cornet, good friends with Wilfried Zaha. Obviously, both play for the Ivory Coast together. So, what are your thoughts on Burnley so far this season?
First, I'll say I always rated Sean Dyche as a manager. I know we were in for him. Well, not in for him, but there are rumors that he might even come to Palace this summer. So he's always done a really good job with you guys. I mean, a lot of respect for him as a manager. You're right. As far as your results lately, you've had some brilliant results lately. Obviously, the Tottenham win has been massive. You beat Brighton again. Cheers for that. You know, you've got a point against United. Point against Arsenal away. I mean, you guys have done a good job. And again, you know, you've got what 2 games in hand, I guess, at this point, because you've got games because of COVID. I guess
yeah, we've got. It's just quickly look at it now. So Brentford have played 26 and we've played 23. They're the team that we're eyeing up to catch. We've got 2 in hand on Leeds, 3 on you, 2 on Leicester. No, sorry, none on Leicester. 1 on Newcastle. So it's because of the COVID and a few other teams have been in a similar situation. Yeah, but Brentford, we are 3 games in hand on them and only 4 points behind them. So that's the team that a lot of Burnley fans are looking at, thinking we can catch.
Yeah, and again, the addition of Weghorst has been, do I watch Burnley? I do, because over here in America, you get to watch every game's on a streaming service, Peacock through NBC. So if I'm not watching Palace, and if I am, I'll put another game on my other TV and watch. So I do keep an eye on other teams because I'm a big football fan. So Weghorst has been really, a goal he scored last week was very, very good. I was very impressed with that. Cornet, again, he gave us trouble in that first match, scored a brilliant goal against us, and he's a quality player. You're right. He and Will for friends in Ivory Coast. I really, really rate Cornet a lot. I mean, I didn't even realize how good he was till he came to Burnley, because I didn't really follow him away from you lot. So yeah, so and you know, you've got experience in the back with Tarkowski and me, always give us trouble. You spanked us last season at Selhurst Park. So I mean, it's not getting me really looking forward to, honestly, because again, you guys are on the up. But again, I've got confidence in the fact that, Vieira will find a way to play a system tomorrow that will keep us obviously in the match, and hopefully we can do as much as we can to get the 3 points. Yeah,
it's the Burnley Palace fixture tends to be a bit of a weird one the last few times. We seem to have had the upper hand recently. Obviously, there was the draw at the Turf earlier in the season, which obviously, as an away side, you could probably be happier with that than us. Right. Especially when we took having said that, you took the lead as well. But then before that run of games, you kind of had the better run against us. So it's been a bit of a weird one recently. We've won at Selhurst a couple of times in recent years. So what sort of game are you expecting, though? Because that 3-3 at the Turf earlier in the season was just kind of, I feel like it was a bit of an anomaly. I don't see that ever happening again with Burnley Palace. I think it's going to be another tight, cagey affair. It's normally 1-0, 2-1 in it. So what sort of game are you expecting as a Palace fan?
Very much expecting another close match. Again, you're absolutely right. The 3-3 was madness for us. It was going back and forth to have, Gahey scored, Benteke got the 2 goals. Not something we normally do away from home, especially. Again, last year's game, the 3-0, you guys were just played really outplayed us. I don't even think we showed up in that game. It was disappointing. But you're right. I'm looking at more of a 1-1, 2-2 type match tomorrow, because I think obviously we both need the points. You're playing really well. We bounced back with that massive win against Watford. And as Vieira's been saying, if we can take our chances, someone was due a hiding from us, because we do create a lot of chances, and we gave that to Watford. So tomorrow, I'm expecting us to be offensively very, very good. We have to watch you guys on, again, I'm sure the stat on us. We give up tons of set-piece goals, but I believe you guys don't necessarily score from set pieces. Is that true? So
it's weird. Like, for the majority of the season, like traditionally, yes, Burnley always score from set pieces. Right. But for the majority of this season, no. But we scored from a set piece against Spurs at the weekend, and we should have had 2 goals. Yeah, exactly. So it's weird. So yeah, if you guys are weak at that, we now seem to be getting good at that again. So that could be something that we exploit.
Yeah, I mean, we were very poor most of the season, and then we gave up a goal against Liverpool. I mean, Virgil van Dijk got a brilliant header. Then next couple of matches we were solid again, and then we gave up another one against Watford on Wednesday. So it's not an area that we are very strong at. I'm not really sure what the reason is. We don't score from our own set pieces. I think we've had 118 corners. We've got, I think, 2 goals from them all season, which hasn't been great. And now one of them was Tompkins scored one. So we're not great on our own. We've got to work on that because we get a lot of corners, a lot of set pieces. Our delivery's not great. Olisa takes most of them. Conor Gallagher takes a few. Will Hughes. I forgot to mention, by the way, he played against Watford and played really well. Another guy who could come in tomorrow and do a really good job in midfield. So, but that aside, I mean, I'm expecting us again to create a lot because again, we've got some really good players going forward. I just hope we can be better again defensively, and I think it would be a good match tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it, to be honest. It should be a good one. I'm sort of like, I'll tell you what, we'll get into predictions in a second. I just want to quickly ask, because Palace have always traditionally, like Burnley fans still to this day, like I've seen a few people posting online saying, oh, you know, he was going to be struggle against Zaha. He's such a class player. But that's because Palace, for like the past however many years, have always relied on Zaha. But for the past like 2-3 years, you haven't really, have you? You know, you've been a lot stronger squad than what you have been before that. You've now got some better players. Conor Gallagher's probably the one that makes you tick more, but you've also got Eze and people like that. So if you were to pick one person that we should look out for tomorrow, like a danger man, should I say, who would you say it'd be?
I'm a massive Wolf fan, so I wouldn't say Wolf because, again, you know who he is. I would say if he plays tomorrow, it'd be Michael Olise. You know, getting him from Reading has been a major coup for us because he's been brilliant this year. Didn't start beginning of the season. Vieira kind of bought him. He was 19 when he joined us. He's 20 now. You know, he's left-footed inverted winger, plays on the right side. But since he's been starting, when Wolf went off to AFCON, we were kind of, and Ayew went off, we were forced to kind of use him around the January time, and he's been brilliant. He's been great in both of our FA Cup wins. Was very, very good against Watford. And he's a danger man. The only thing I'm thinking, he might not play tomorrow because he's played a lot lately. We might be saving him for the cup game. But if he plays, you're going to have to watch out for him because he's very tricky. His first touch is brilliant. His dribbling is very good. He's a very good deliverer of the ball. So for players like Mateta and Benteke, love when he plays and he puts good crosses in. And he can score goals. So for me, I would say if it's not Zaha, tomorrow the danger man would be Michael Olise.
Fair enough. I'll definitely be looking out on the team sheet for his name then come 2 o'clock tomorrow. But let's get into some predictions and I'll let you go first. Always let the guest go first. Bear in mind, recently, obviously, of course, we played Brighton. The Brighton fan from Albion Obsessed said, we are going to absolutely play a team off the park soon and comfortably beat them. So I'm going for a 3-0 Brighton win. And of course, after I clicked that up before the game, I didn't even throw him under the bus on purpose. I clicked it up before the game, put it out. Then the Burnley fans all got hold of it after the game and started sort of like laughing at him and saying, you were so confident. But I'm always one of them. If you want to predict a Palace win, feel free. You know, I always predict a Burnley. I always predict a Burnley win. People who watch this channel will know I very rarely predict a Burnley win. But if I'm on an opposition team's podcast and I think Burnley are going to win, I'll say.
I'm one that I'm not really one for predictions, but and I'm normally sit on the fence. I'm going to do that today. The way you are playing, as well as you're playing of late, and the way we finally got that win, I'm going to honestly think that it's going to be a very tight game. But I'm going to go for goals because I think we can unfortunately leak them at times, and we can definitely score. So I'm going to go for a 2-2. I believe that we'll definitely score tomorrow. We've done well of late, and I definitely think you guys will get at least one from a set piece. I'm really worried about Weghorst because we haven't seen him, obviously. And if Cornet, I watched Sean Dyche's interview today. I know he has a foot injury, but he said he might be able to play tomorrow. So I worry about Cornet tomorrow. Dwight, very good player. So I would say I'll go for what they call it, a Desmond, a 2-2 tomorrow.
Yeah, Desmond 2-2. I was going to say, I'll take a Desmond. I will take a Desmond all day. I am going the opposite. I'm thinking it's going to be close. Okay. But I'm thinking it's going to be tight. I'm thinking 0-0, simply because you played last weekend, then you played again on Wednesday, now you're playing again on Saturday, then you're playing again on Tuesday. We're in the same boat. We're just playing game after game after game. I think eventually burnout's going to catch up with some teams. But you know what? It's one of them games, isn't it? We're away from home, so you take a point in all your away from home games. So I'm going 0-0, and there'll be some people giving me grief in comments, I'm sure. So let's say you can't even predict to win now. But yeah, we've been playing very well recently. So yeah, I wouldn't raise too many eyebrows over a 1-0 Burnley win or even a 1-0 Palace win.
I agree.
They're playing very well. So it's one of them games that I do think can go either way. I really do. I'm really looking forward to it.
I am too.
Should be a good one. But yeah, just before we go then, mate, do you want to let everyone know where they can find you, where they can find your podcast, where they can watch your content?
Yes, I'm a member of the Back of the Nest crew, so you can find us on our podcast and all of your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, etc. I'm also available on YouTube. Back in Nest has a YouTube channel. I do the post-match reaction show, and I'm available sometime during the week with D, who does great content for us on YouTube. So check that out.
Yeah, fans of Turfcast will know D. D's been on the channel quite a lot, and of course, those who watch us on FansBet as well will be aware of D because he was on the most recent one and he's on quite a lot as well. But thank you for joining us, Patrick. It's been a good chat. Always good to speak to fans who've moved abroad as well. It's very rarely have people on here that have moved abroad. How is New York right now?
It's actually raining and ice today, cold day, but I mean, not exactly beautiful weather today, but it is February, so I'll take it.
Yeah. It's actually. It was snowing here yesterday, and it nearly got stuck at M62. But it's a bit finer now, as you can see with sun behind me. But thank you for joining us, Patrick. I really appreciate it, and hopefully, we'll speak to you or someone from Back of the Nest next season.
Absolutely. Good luck. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.